Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to 31 days of content. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Today we're going to be talking about what makeup products I thought were pretty overhyped in 2022. Remember, this is subjective to preference and things like that. So if I mention one of your favorite products, that's great. We're allowed to have different opinions, and I'm so glad that you love it. If you're new here, hi, hello, my name is Megan. Please consider subscribing before you leave. We're doing 31 days of content. And if you enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a big like before you leave. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, starting over with the super controversial thought. The first product I thought that was super overhyped that I tried in 2022 was the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, you guys. The way people talk about this and describe this, like, I thought that my socks were going to be completely blown off, but they weren't. The reason that I hadn't ever picked it up in the past, because I've seen people that have had theirs for a while, all the embroidering and the writing and everything completely wears off of the bottle. And I think that, you know, a big part of Charlotte Tilbury's price point is that it's Charlotte Tilbury. So if the packaging is so cheap that you don't even know what brand it is because it's all worn off, that's like, no thanks for me. But everyone just, you know, kept talking about it. Everyone still loves it. So what I did was I picked up a mini, and I was like, this will be a good way to try it. That way, you know, if the formula is really good, then maybe I can move past the packaging. But it was just so meh. Did it look really beautiful? Yes, I do think that it did. But the thing is, my like Milani Bright Side Illuminating Primer, in my opinion, gives like a really similar effect, which I still have old swatches on my hand. Sorry about that. But it gives a really similar reflective effect for like a fraction of the price. And then also the Rare Beauty one is super reflective as well. Their illuminating primer. This one actually might be more illuminating than the other one, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah. So like, I just felt like for the price point and everything like that, you can find a lot better products out there. I have not tried the e.l.f. dupe yet, but I heard that it is like quite literally a dupe. But yeah, I just feel like the Flawless Filter is so overhyped, especially for the price point. Sticking with the Charlotte Tilbury theme, the contour wand. I cannot figure out why everybody loves it so much. I did not have a great experience with it. I felt like on my skin tone particularly, the tone of the bronzer was a little weird. It wasn't very pigmented. It like almost blended away and off my face and would get patchy on my cheeks. And the packaging is so freaking messy. It is so messy. And that was probably like my biggest irritation about it, was how just messy and not functional the packaging was. I hated it. Like I could not deal with that in the morning. And I just feel like, again, there are so many better bronzers out there, not to mention that one is super expensive. It's always sold out. You have to try really hard to get it. And I just don't really think that it's worth that at all. Well, while we're talking about Charlotte Tilbury, I'll do my last one that I have for Charlotte. So the cream bronzer, that like literally everyone on IG anyways was super obsessed with it. It's been sold out on Sephora in the shade Fair for like ever. And I wasn't even going to get it because I swatched them in store and I felt like the shade was too cool. But with all the hype that I was seeing on IG, I was having some FOMO. So when I saw it restocked at Sephora, I said, fuck it. And I got it with my Rouge Reward. And pretty much what I thought would happen happened, you know. It came in, I used it. The tone was way too cool. There was no glowy bronze situation happening at all. It looked like a straight up contour. And then the formula itself was really thick and really moussey, which caused it to, I had trouble blending it out, you guys, and it looked patchy, muddy. It just looked gross. And obviously I know some people really love it, and I'm really glad it works for them. But for me, it was just a huge, huge miss. Like, it was probably one of the worst bronzers that I've tried, honestly. It was not good. Sticking with bronzer, let's talk about the One Size bronzer trio. I feel like it was so interesting because I was talking on IG and I was like, how is One Size still a brand? Because I was like, no one ever talks about it. No one ever uses it. I don't understand how they're still a thing, how they're still in Sephora. Like, someone help me make it make sense. And someone pointed out that I guess One Size is a little bit more popular over on TikTok and hyped up and whatnot. These trios were one of those things, the bronzing trio and the blush trios. And I had gotten one for my birthday and I was really excited about it. I got the shade Light, and these were just not good. They were too pigmented in my opinion, and they did not blend out well. You also didn't really, you got 3 shades within there, but you didn't really get a lot of range within the 3 shades that you got. So I didn't really feel like they were serving different purposes. They weren't different finishes. And I was like, well, maybe the shade Light is too deep for me and the shade Fair would work much better. But I talked to one of my friends and she said that she had the shade Fair and she decluttered it as well because the shade Fair like didn't even show up on her skin. The formula wasn't it, so she decluttered it. And I just felt like, I don't know, I was just so disappointed because I was expecting so much more from it, but it was really just a patchy, muddy mess all over, and I don't have time to mess around with that kind of shenanigans in the morning before work. Speaking of shenanigans, I have no idea what's going on with my hair, so let's just ignore it if we could. Thank you. Next up, I feel like Overhyped is the Tower 28 lip jellies. I think they're like nice, but they're so overhyped. Like, people are ride and die for these things, and I don't know. I feel like some of the formulas are different than others. Like, I had some of the more brown toned lip jellies and they were more like, the gloss was a little bit thicker, more moisturizing. And then, you know, I'm working on a clear one right now and I like don't really think that it's good at all. The same with the one I just used. I think that the shade is pretty, but formulation wise, I don't think it's that great. And I know, like I said, people ride or die for those, and there are better glosses, like way better glosses. So I don't know if it's like, you know, people that get a lot of PR from Tower 28, they just, you know, they like it all. I don't know, but I really just think that they are so overhyped. I've tried several of them trying to figure out what's so good about them, but I can't figure it out. Another one is the Kosas lip oils. I think these are quite literally terrible. They are super expensive. You don't get a lot of product. I found them to not be moisturizing or hydrating on my lips literally at all. They had a really nice pigment. The doe foot was not very soft. It was actually like pretty stiff. But at the bottom, like the end of the day, like I want a lip oil because I want it to nourish my lips, bring hydration to them. And that product did not do it at all. It literally just like dried off or soaked all up and like my lips were dry again. Like there was literally no hydration benefits to it whatsoever. And I think it's super, super freaking overhyped. Next up is the Fenty Gloss Bomb. This is another one I think is super overhyped. I feel like the Gloss Bomb has such a cult following, and I mean, there for a while, it was all anyone talked about were the Fenty Gloss Bombs and how good they were, and everyone was, you know, getting them for Christmas and buying them. And I feel like the hype for them has died down a little, but I also feel like that's because like The hype overall for Fenty, I feel like, has kind of died down a little. But so many people love these gloss bombs, and I hated the one that I had. I did not like the scent. The formula was really thick, really sticky. It just did not meet any of my preferences when it came to a gloss. And it also just like wasn't that shiny or juicy looking on my lips. I cannot with my hair today, you guys. I just didn't really feel like it brought anything to the table, and for a $20 gloss, it should be bringing something to the table, and it just wasn't. So I think that's a hugely overrated product. The other one, which it's so funny because so many people love this, but like I've also talked to so many people that are like in agreement with me. They're like, I just don't get it. The Kosas concealer, like it is just not that good of a concealer performance wise. The shade range is very wonky in my opinion. It leans very yellow. The shelf life is very short, so you have to be mindful of that. Their products do tend to go off really quickly because they are a clean brand. And yeah, I just didn't really feel like it was all of that. I experienced creasing. Like it wasn't the creasiest ever, but it wasn't the best ever. It was super middle of the road, and for the price point and for the, you know, short shelf life, I was just like, not for me. I definitely think if it's one you haven't tried yet, but you want to because everyone hypes it up, I think you could probably skip it. There's a lot better options out there in my opinion. And this one was just so underwhelming to me. And mine went off in about 4.5 months. So that was really upsetting as well. And then the last product I tried this year that was super overhyped in my opinion was the Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction. And I know I've talked about this in a few videos, so I'm not gonna like, you know, go on and on and on about it. But I just feel like for Pat's price point that she needs to do better. Her shadows, the special shades, and are very like reminiscent of indie shadows. So if you have indie shadows or even Huda Beauty shimmers, you're gonna get same if not better quality out of those. And then her shimmers, general shimmers, and her palettes aren't good. You can get a better one out of, you know, a $20 to $30 palette. And then the mattes are absolutely horrid. They're so bad. Like, yeah. Patchy mess. You can get better mattes pretty much out of any other palette because that's been my experience. I tried Pat McGrath again because I'm trying to understand the hype, and I still just can't understand the hype. Like I don't think her formula is good. In my opinion, her palettes are more of like $30 to $40 quality. That's where she's at right now. The packaging is nice. It's heavy. I like that aspect of it, but everything else is just so underwhelming, under par. Even like, because I know I had one of her palettes before that I had gotten on sale for like $80. And even then I was like, that is way too much money for the performance of the shadows. Like the performance is just not good. And I feel like, you know, if you're paying $130, you shouldn't have to be problem solving every look, working to find a solution on how to blend something, not having the outcome you want, not loving every single look. If you're, you know, I think honestly, out of any palette you have, you should pretty much love every single look that you do with it if you're going to hang on to it in your collection. But yeah, that one was just so overhyped, and I guess Pat McGrath as a brand is super overhyped to me. But yeah, that was pretty much all the makeup that I tried that was like hyped up, talked about, that I didn't really feel like fit the bill for me. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything else that was like, because I didn't try a lot of super new right when it came out, just because of like my project and stuff. But those are the ones that I could think of off the top of my head that have a lot of chatter around them, and I just feel like aren't worth your money. So hopefully that little bit of feedback helped you in some sort of way. What are some of the overhyped products that you tried in 2022? I'm genuinely curious to know, because some of them might be my like favorites. But yeah, let me know what some of those are. If you made it to the end of today's video, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.